All right, guys, let's get started. Welcome to the Sid City Social Club for Friday, May 27th. We're glad you're here. All right, over to Sid.
Hello. It's been another week of ignominy and disgrace in America. Goodness knows what good will come of it. And that's something that just hit me. I don't think it's particularly profound, but I wanted to say something about it to mark the events of the week in Texas. On a much brighter note, thank you all for coming, by the way. I forgot to do that. It's lovely to see you all. And I do have a look at even you lurkers out there with your photographs on your black page. Some of which are hilarious, by the way. Let's talk to somebody about what's going on in their world.
Okay, we are going to wish Edie a happy birthday, which it's today, right?
Yeah, it is.
Edie, it's your birthday.
Happy birthday, Edie. Oh, I'm so sorry.
Happy birthday.
I'm so sorry.
No, you're right.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday.
Hello.
So, right.
Oh. Nice to meet you.
Hi, Zoe.
Have I seen you before, Zoe? I can't quite tell because the window is behind you and you.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I was at the convention in Chicago.
Oh, great. Nice to see you, Edie. I mean, I'm getting confused all over the place. So what's going on, guys? How are you?
We're pretty good. We went out to breakfast this morning, and then we're gonna pick up some various fish-themed cakes this evening.
Oh, fantastic. That's great. I'm going to do a fish-themed cake.
Yes, 2 different types of fish themes. Sorry.
Oh, wow. Tell us a bit about them.
So mine is based off tiktaalik, which is, if you've seen the meme of people pushing a fish back into the sea so it doesn't evolve, it's that fish.
I haven't seen that meme, but it already makes me giggle.
In the form of like those frog cakes, but instead of a frog, it's a tiktaalik in that shape.
That's fantastic.
And then Zoe's is based on the Mariana Trench.
Wow. So budding oceanographers too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What are you going to do with I mean, I might have asked you a bit about this last time, but I'm just curious to know if because I tend to ask, but my memory is like that of a goldfish. By the way, it's quite interesting. I heard that most goldfish have a longer memory than most humans. Just in terms of a specific kind of memory, that kind of very short-term memory that we hold, just for something that was just by the by, and it could be rubbish. I read it somewhere, so who knows? So where in the oceans are you going to get it all jiggy?
I'm just interested in any part of the ocean, just like a long time ago. I like deep sea creatures.
Is it true that we've only discovered like 3 or 4% of all the creatures in the ocean?
Yes.
And there was a recent sighting of an amazing octopus that no one was sure was still around. That usually lives at about the 2-kilometer mark.
Mm-hmm.
It's astonishing. I would scare the living daylights out of me to be down that far, if it was possible at all in a submersible. It's just like I don't think I suffer from claustrophobia, but I think I would quickly develop a sense of claustrophobia if I was down there. Do you have an interest in going down there?
I'm actually terrified of the ocean, so I wouldn't go in there again.
Okay, yeah, I'm probably the same.
I've gone snorkeling before, and there were sea urchins down there, and I could not handle it. So
yeah.
Here's a 4-foot squid.
Oh my goodness! Yes. So, one of you is interested in current oceanography,
mm-hmm.
and you're more of a paleo historian, but
mm-hmm.
ocean-based. Is that sort of correct? Is that in the right ballpark?
Yeah.
And how are you going to manifest? Are you going to become a historian, or are you going to become a paleontologist? Which way are you going to go to satisfy this curiosity in this world, or are you going to do something entirely different? Be a biochemist? If
I have the opportunity to be in any fish field, if I can do paleoceanography, that would be great. I know it's kind of competitive though, so anything with like ecology though, I would do.
Oh, that's fantastic. And what about you, Zoe?
Just any biology thing, maybe evolution related.
Oh wow, that's also a contentious field. Oh, what's that?
A tiny lobster.
Tiny
It's
lobster.
carnival quality, so it looks goofy, but
When are you packing in for the semester?
we finished last Friday.
Oh, you're done.
Yeah.
Brilliant. So you're going back to what year? What is it? You must be preparing for college.
We're mostly trying to get related jobs right now, since I've heard that you don't get paleontology related jobs unless you've kind of grown up with it. And so this summer we have a volunteer chance at the university with this fish lab
Oh, brilliant.
where they preserve different fish. and
What a
fossils.
fantastic thing to do. What a great thing to volunteer at. That must be, I mean, is a lot of competition for places in that program?
We didn't, there isn't really, they don't look for volunteers usually. There's not that many spots they need. We just asked if there was anything we could do there, and there was.
Good for you. Well, that's the only way you get things done, is actually asking, especially for jobs that don't exist. That's astonishing. Really brilliant. You should be proud of yourself. Fantastic. And so that will be hopefully the last for most of the summer.
Mhm.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
And so
then-
you're going to learn how to preserve fish.
Yeah.
It's kind
We've
of
been
weird.
there before on a visit, so we've seen what it looks like, and it's really cool.
Yeah.
They've got like these sliding bookshelves of just rows and rows of fish tanks.
Wow. And are they all formaldehyde type preservation techniques, or they use something more modern now?
Some of them, the older ones are formaldehyde. I think the newer ones have a different method, but I don't remember what it is off the top of my head.
No, you'll learn, and you'll be able to tell us. Do you think you'll be allowed to take a camera in there one day?
Oh, I probably could, yeah.
And you can film a little vlog for us. That would be just fantastic. We'd love to see what's going on inside.
I forgot to mention earlier. I'm so sorry, Ain, but Ain is also here with me again.
Hi.
Yes. Hello.
See you
Happy
again.
birthday.
You are friends 3, is that right?
Yes.
Yeah. So me and Edith and Zoe have been friends like for like maybe like it's like a year and 4 or 5 months now. And we met in like a group chat about Lumen. And then we all got into Star Trek together, kind of. So we all just have been friends for a while and talk about things together.
That's
And they're identical twins, and they both like marine biology, which is fun.
amazing.
And we like our little old-fashioned space shows. Yes, we do.
Yeah, old-fashioned space shows. And have you, as because you're some of you are gender non-binary, and what encouragement? I mean, obviously knowing each other is such wonderful. Having a wonderful, sibling as well is just the best, in-house help and wonderful encouragement. What barriers do you face? Do you feel that young people, because you're right in the zone of the most cruel kids, kids can be really dark.
Honestly, for me, I generally don't care too much about like what bathroom I go in. Like I generally don't get too much dysphoria about like anything really. Like I kind of just like don't care. So I live in Massachusetts, so it's not horrible.
Yeah.
I go in the women's bathroom just because it doesn't like bother me that much.
Yeah.
And so it's not a huge issue legally for me. Like most of the stuff I face is just like my classmates being like annoying or my family being like rude sometimes. Like it's a lot more social taboo up here than any kind of legal things, and I know that's definitely a privilege that I have, that I live in a more progressive state, even if the people around me are all super conservative. Because I live in Massachusetts, but I live in like the most conservative town.
Oh, really?
Yeah. The other day at a pep rally, I think I told Edie and Zoe this story, but a girl got mad at me because I was sitting during the national anthem just because like my legs were tired or something, and she got super mad at me. And then at prom, literally like more than 24 hours later at prom, I overhear this girl still talking about me. Like, get over it.
It's so petty.
My outfit was cooler than hers though, so it was fine.
Hey, you shut her up.
Like I had a sociology class last year, and I joined, or not last year, it was like last semester, and I joined that because like I want to have like nuanced discussions about how different social phenomenons form and things like that, because I'm interested in that kind of thing. But then I get to this class and people barely even know like what it means to be transgender. And it's like, I can't have nuanced conversations when these people don't even know what non-binary is. Like,
I love the fact that you want to have nuanced conversations at your age at all. I'm really, really admiring of that. I think that's wonderful.
I mean, like, I've just always been into like discussing like different like cultural phenomena because it's very interesting to me.
Yeah.
We did like a current events thing in my history class last year, and I brought up the fact that like a trans person like got killed. Yeah. And instead of like being respectful about it, they just turn it into a discussion about like trans race. It's like disturbing. Wow. They turn it into just a discourse, like it's like a debate club topic. Yeah. Meanwhile, I'm sitting over here thinking like that could have been me.
Yeah. That's like, so they're treating it like some passing fad, like a new dance that they found.
Yeah.
It's really hard to battle. I mean, one of my, this is also all three of you, but one of my biggest difficulties is overcoming my presumptions. And presuming stuff is just my natural state of affairs. You know, I immediately think to myself, oh, that person's attractive, or oh, this is an internal dialogue. And it's hard for me not to. And that's kind of that's one of the most difficult things for a lot of people to deal with in terms of their presumptions, and why you might get misgendered. But I think I like the fact that you seem to be very confident. You are particularly, at least you've exhibited that confidence.
I definitely am very confident in like my gender and stuff like that, and like I kind of have to be a little bit mean sometimes to get the respect, and I still don't always get the respect. Once I became more confident in myself, I had to get a little bit mean to kind of get the respect I wanted, which you never want to be mean, but sometimes you kind of just have to like demand respect.
Yeah. How do people react when you demand?
So people like mostly ended up respecting me and like using my right name. I don't know if they do that behind my back. I've heard that not everyone respects me behind my back, but at least to my face, they're being decent. At least they're like, you know, using the right name and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good. That's really good. Well, I'm really glad you guys are all doing well, and I'd love to thank you for coming back. And we welcome back any old time, as you know. But thanks all three of you, and thanks Zoe for leaping up from wherever you were to get involved.
Yeah.
Thanks, Edie.
Birthday, you two.
Thanks.
Happy birthday, Edie and Zoe.
Thank you.
Both of you.
All right, our next birthday is Jennifer, who turns 21 tomorrow. Yay!
Jennifer!
Yeah, not 21.
Lovely Jennifer. How are you?
I am still alive.
After publishing your book, after all of that.
I have, in 2 weeks, I move. In between now and then, I have a wedding, a conference, a book signing, and a major house project here at the parsonage. So,
oh my goodness. Can you do us a favor? Have you got a copy of your book handy? Can you just put it up to the screen so everyone can see it?
Yeah, hang on. Book, which maybe, yeah, it's backwards, but whatever.
That's fantastic. Yeah, we got it. Such a brilliant title.
Thank you.
So how's your move going? Really exhausting, really stressful.
Yes. Yes, it is. So it's parsonage to parsonage, right? So like it's from a house I didn't choose to a house I didn't choose. Right. It is hard to be doing a move in the midst of trying to figure out like how to close down some of the stuff at the job that I have, because there's no pause in between the two jobs.
Oh, so you're changing jobs as well.
Yeah, so that's the thing, is I'm moving from one city to another to go from being the senior or the only pastor at this church to the associate at a much bigger church.
Wow. Okay. That's actually really wonderful. I mean, there was a moment, in the last couple of years where you thought, well, my career may just be over. There may be so much pushback against me. And you brought out this novel, so it's no, because remember when we first talked, it's like, I can't really talk about this stuff because there might be blowback. And you went ahead and talked about it anyway.
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, and there was, and there has been, but it's one of those things that at a certain point I was like, well, now that everybody knows, I just am going to be loud about it because people need to see this kind of clergy. People need to see that this kind of person is possible in the pulpit.
Yeah, absolutely. Is not a freak of nature at all. And it's
yeah. Well, and also I don't know how much you've been paying attention to the fact that the UMC is back in the national news, the international news, because we are again on fire. We never stopped being on fire.
That's the United Methodist Church.
It's the United Methodist Church.
So why in the news this time?
So the conservative faction formally announced their own denomination at the beginning of this month and left.
Wow, that's what the Catholics might call a schism.
Yeah. So the faction that left and created what is now called the Global Methodist Church, which they have a logo that looks a bit like a radioactive sign, which I find delightful. But they do not want to accept any kind of leadership or really membership, but leadership predominantly from anybody who is in the LGBT rainbow.
Wow. Okay.
And the current Methodist Church has been not actively persecuting anybody about it, so they're mad. So they have left to become a place where they can very clearly spell out, "You are not welcome here."
Wow.
The language that's officially codified is that in the UMC's Book of Discipline, which is not nearly as sexy as it sounds, but in the book it says that homosexuality is incompatible with Christian teachings, which is stupid and also not true. So that was really what ended the conversation of like, can we just agree to disagree? Because no, we cannot.
Yeah.
So at this point, we were trying to figure out sort of an amicable divorce kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because we've watched so many other denominations go through this and tear themselves to shreds on it.
In Britain, in the news all the time,
Yeah, absolutely.
And is that anything to do with your moving parish?
No. The current church I serve is not actively hostile, and I don't think will leave the denomination.
Right. I was actually going to ask you a question. When did you first realize God existed, and how?
So I think it would be when I was in about 6th grade. I was suspended from school for a while for fighting for dumb reasons, and a bunch of other things were going on, and I was very sad about it, and I was like, all right, that's it, I'm done with this. So at 12 I was ready to commit suicide, and don't do that, kids. It was a matter of understanding there was some other, capital O other, like Frederick Buechner other, that said, I am not done,
right,
and you are not done. And of course, like now as a pastor, that has a whole different understanding of what done is, like what is yet to be done in the sense of like what I am doing with my life than when I was 12 and I was just like, I'm gonna go to choir, like so, but I understood on a level that even for me as a wordsmith, I don't have words for, that there was something that said, no, this is not the end of this.
Yeah.
And it took me a while to give that the name of God, because I was presented with so many church versions of God, and all of them sucked. So like, I was done with church and I hated church. It was dumb. And it wasn't until I got to college and started meeting people of faith who weren't jerks that I was like, oh, that concept of love, that concept of embracing that concept of making me, not making me a better person in like a Care Bear sort of way, but making the broken spaces of me whole again.
Yeah.
Oh, that's got okay. I can deal with that.
Right. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. It's interesting though for me. I find it a little kind of ironic that you joined a church, because you are so anti. I don't know you really well, but you're very anti-establishment, and the church is the very model, the very root of establishment in our society. As far as we go back, there is not one thing that has lasted longer than that particular establishment in all its different forms. So you went right into the belly of the beast. So is that because you figured, like the line from my favorite Genesis song called Carpet Crawlers, which is I've got to get in to get out? Is that where that comes from?
One of the ways that I finally determined, okay, I'm going to go be a pastor after fighting it for at least 4 years, was that a friend of mine who was a professor, a theater professor, said to me at one point, every job has drama and every job has dumb people and every job you will hate at least once.
Yeah.
Find the job where you have the worst day with all of the politicking and all of the terribleness and all of the like worst bits of the self and the other people, all that sort of stuff. And then the next morning you believe in what it's trying to do, in what that institution is trying to do enough that you do it again. I believe in what it's doing underneath enough to fight with it in all the language that it has.
Absolutely. It strikes me as kind of interesting that in all these conversations about God, there is a calcification of God. God has become a thing in, and he made us in his form. I think all three pretty much correlate with that particular such suggestion. So God looks like a bloke, which is astounding to me. I think the personification of God is a very dangerous thing to do, which the Quran understood. I think it limits God's his accessibility, its accessibility. I said his, and of course I mean that, but I'm 57 years of growing up in the various different religions, and I'm pretty much prone to put my foot in my mouth there. But the fact is that God must be able to have a conversation with everybody at the same time in the universe and still have time for you. And I wonder why God doesn't tap a few of our friends on the shoulder and go, "You've got me all wrong." God's got plenty of time to tap everybody on the shoulder at the same time and go, "You're doing just fine. You keep going." And another person go, "Hey, wait a minute. We're done with this." I could have a conversation about this for hours. I always can when I'm talking to you. It's a very dangerous thing. But do you have an answer for that? I mean, you must have parishioners who come up to you and go, "Listen, I'm really having problems. I'm doubting what's going on right now." And part of the reason I'm doubting it is that God is not interventionist enough. If he's away from his desk, he must have so many messages on his phone saying, "Where are you? We need you." Or do you think he's just outsourced that particular his work to a bunch of amazing people who we see them all the time around us? They're in this room doing God's work, whether they know it or not. Well, where do you sit on that spectrum?
So welcome to the subfield of theodicy. I, as a Christian, the journeying middle book of the trilogy of of the Abrahamic religions, do always start from Christ as the place where I understand God. I understand that to be true, not in the sense that God is no longer involved and has just sort of relegated us as the ones to do it and is like, I mean, I've got a golf game. But in the sense that being created in God's image is not a matter of I look like Jesus. I don't. I'm white, for one thing. It is in the sense that the concept of the heart of God is about the changing of the world toward wholeness. And it's everyone is welcome here. And it's everyone who has heard the name of God bows to the holy. And it's those who were broken have been given white robes and rejoice. And it's all of this sense of that which is wrong is made right. But there is absolutely that sense that each of us is imbued with the image of our creator, in the sense that we are to make what is wrong right. We are to make what is broken whole. We are to make what is lost found. This is the core of who we are, not because we're supposed to be good people, which is an abstract kind of weird theory, but because we are supposed to look at each other and say, you too are born of the Spirit. And therefore I honor who you can be and who you are right now.
Yeah, I understand. That makes enormous sense. I mean, in a way, the most generous thing that can be done by a religion is to excuse everybody from religion, and to say, because if you act within the core ideals of what we're trying to achieve here, is that we must treat each other as ourselves and look after the poor and forgive as much as possible all the time, then regardless of what religion you are in, God is smart enough to let you into heaven. That's just going to happen. It does not mind or care what religion you are from, because it has absolutely nothing to do with the individual. It has to do with the act.
Yeah, but I do think that you're absolutely right in the sense of God. I like that God is smart enough to, anytime that we get into a space where we say, well, I know the heart of God. First of all, the heart of God is the size of the universe. So like, get some Tylenol because your brain must hurt. So that understanding of being so expansive that God has space to move, I suppose, is one way to put it. For me, I need religion in the sense that I need structure, because I'm not going to get there by myself. So I'm very Augustinian in the sense that I do believe people are jerks until they're made to be otherwise. The sense of, from an early age, we see and understand and imbibe evil. So for me, I need the concept of Jesus, the human form of God.
Yeah.
Because if I'm just left to my own devices, me personally, of like, well, be nice to each other. I'm not going to be nice to each other. People are dumb and I don't like them. I like.
It's refreshingly honest.
If I am going to become daily more like Christ, which is kind of the point of Christianity, then I have to start with recognizing that my frustration with other people cannot be the end of the conversation, because then I will just A, die alone, but B, never get into the space that Christ lived in, which was surrounding himself with people and saying, you too are loved, you too are part of the body of Christ, the capital B body of Christ.
Yeah. America is, by all accounts, the most religious country in the world, in the Western world, certainly. I'm praying for that moment when they all, in unison, realize that true religiousness is love. And if they could actually look to their left and look to their right, and whatever they see there, they must feel an obligation to love it. Love them, love they, whatever that entity is. I don't know who's going to help get that message across, that we've misunderstood love. It's not a selfish act. It can't be just for your mom or your daughter or your father. It has to be irregardless, under any circumstances. I thank you for crystallizing some really important thoughts for me there. I as I say, I could talk to you for hours, because I think there's such a font of amusing wisdom. And thank you, Jenna.
I always look forward to them, my friend.
Thank you.
Thank you, Pastor Geneva, taking us to church. We didn't do the collective happy birthday yet, so let's do that before we let Geneva go.
What? Yes. Sorry.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Happy
Happy
Happy birthday.
Thank you all.
I hope it's a fantastic day.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, we are going to check in with Evelyn, who I think it's been about a year since we've talked with you.
Oh,
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah.
and it's good to
Hi.
see you. How are you?
Hi. I'm fine. Yeah, how are you?
I'm very well indeed, thank you. How's life in Holland right now?
Yeah, good. Pretty good. Yeah.
Getting
Sure.
everybody happy. Get it to summer's arrived and can
Yeah,
relax a bit
yeah,
because of the weather.
Yeah. Yeah, we had amazing weather the last couple of weeks. So
Right.
yeah.
Seems like the first spring we've had in 3 years.
Yeah.
The other two were destroyed by COVID, and this time
Yeah.
we've still got a hell
We
of
can
a
enjoy it again.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. We can try.
Yeah.
That's great. What's going on in your life? What's happening?
Yeah. Oh my God, a lot has happened. I'm thinking back. In the last year, I think I crashed my car. We bought a house. My grandma passed away, which
Oh,
was
I'm sorry.
really, it was really sad moment.
What was her name? We'll get on
Gina.
your master's degree any second. And what? Is she
Gina.
Dutch?
Well, yeah, she's Dutch. Yeah, she was Dutch. Gina, like with the harsh
Gina.
Dutch G.
Gina.
Yeah.
What did she
Um,
do when she was did she look after children, or did she have a career on some other level?
Yeah, she had a bit of a career. She was trained as a chemist in like life or like food stuff. I don't really know how it translates, but she worked for a bit.
Okay, so she was a chemist for food.
Yeah, like technology of food,
Oh,
development of food,
Yeah,
that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's really smart. She was a really smart woman, like incredibly smart. She was from a bit of an unconventional background, I suppose, in her time. Her parents met later on in life, where they both already had a kid from a previous marriage.
Right. Very unusual for that period.
Yeah, very unusual. Yeah, my grandmother has always been the rest of her life very progressive. She wanted to know what was happening in the world.
What are your earliest
really-
memories of her as a little girl? What would you? Because did you look forward to seeing her because she would like be kind of crazy or play with you, or what was your memory
Just
of
the warmth of being with her.
Yeah.
The incredible sense of safety while being with her. Always interested in other people. She had such a right to finally be able to talk about herself on moments, but she never did. She never took those moments. She always asked about other people first. That's what I really remember about her. Still in her last moments, which I'm very grateful I could spend with her.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Well, thank you. That's a really nice portrait of your dear
Yeah.
grandma. You are doing a master's?
Yeah, it literally translates, I suppose, to integrated care design. It's like healthcare development.
Oh, you mentioned
that kind
that
of
last
stuff.
time. You mentioned that you were interested.
Yeah, I was gonna do it. I was gonna do another master, but then the I had to do like another level of math, and I can't do math. It's not something that's going to happen.
Not gonna
happen. No.
What? Tell me what the integrated part means.
Yeah, it focuses on different aspects of care, not just usual healthcare and making people better, but also it focuses a lot on well-being and what it means to different people from different backgrounds, different cultures. And how you can meet those needs more specifically in their situation. So it's more patient focused, I suppose.
Okay, and so you're working on the patients, the infrastructure around the patient in terms of what their options might be. In obviously they're physicians, and there might be different kinds of physicians. To really find
exactly.
out. That's really great.
To find something that perfectly fits the individual. Yeah,
that is such a breath of fresh air, because one of my big bugbears about the medical profession, actually any profession, nothing to do with just the medical profession, is over specialization. And I mean, it's really important that people have to specialize, but understandably they feel, because they have to work so hard, doctors, and also they have to requalify all the time, which is incredibly difficult. So they're forever sitting exams, but they because there's that very little communication. So if your job is to get all these different elements together and start studying the same thing, that is fantastic. I mean, it does happen, but it's just difficult.
Yeah, it is. So yeah, I really like it.
Wonderful.
It's great.
What sort of things do you have to think of in terms of starting your master's? Are you already being guided towards what your thesis will be, or are you very?
Yeah, I sort of am. It's very much focused on the place that I work. Yeah, I can work on my thesis at my current work. So that really works for quite well.
How has work been? Have you been? You can't be remote, or do you?
No, remote as in working from home, or
working from home.
Yeah, no, I can't. I very recently, this February, I kind of got promoted, I guess, and now I'm the unit leader, the almost manager.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Which is kind of weird, because I started working at this place when I was still a student nurse. A couple of years ago, and now I'm their team leader. So it's
fantastic.
Strange,
but you are brilliant.
It's great.
And how is your partner? Because if I remember correctly, he's also in the business, isn't he?
Yes, he's also a nurse. He works at the emergency room at this moment. Just finished his specialization. So yeah.
Professionally, how are you? Because you've both been through quite a lot.
Yeah. We have.
I mean, some of us have, some of our group have one nurse in the family, or no, but to have two in the same room, is tough. And how do you during this whole COVID period? Because I remember you were exhausted last time, and you said your partner was absolutely exhausted. How do you handle it? How do you balance each other when you come home, and because you're both just as tired? You don't have one of you can't pick up. I mean, a good relationship means one person is always dragging the other person somewhere just to keep things moving.
Talking about it helped a lot. Just for a short moment, just letting go of everything you've been through that day. And also, I think as a nurse, you kind of learn in your first few years working that when you close the door at work, it stays there. So you don't take it home. And I think that's very important. And we learned during COVID, we just learned even more to do so. But it was kind of weird, but it has always been, because we work different shifts. So you can see each other for a week, and then the next week you just see each other, one going to bed and the other waking up. And you have to find the time to talk about it, to sit down. And to share with each other. That really helped. And luckily we also our families really supported us. We have a lot of friends who also are nurses or work in hospitals, so it helps to have people around you that know what's going on and that it's tough, and sometimes you just don't have the energy for things. But also pull you out of that situation once every while, because you
Well, good for you. I mean, you seem just healthy, and you've been through one of the hardest times any young person could ever go through.
It's fine.
You haven't aged a bit.
Oh, thank you.
That's wonderful. Does your partner have a close to his family as well?
Yeah.
have you all, when was the first time you all got to actually hang out? Is it been quite a while now since you've all been able to kind of relax?
Today we actually hung out with his parents and his sister and brother-in-law. No, it's quite relaxed here. I think in January, I think most of the COVID regulations were, gone, and you could do pretty much everything again. And luckily, since then, there haven't been many COVID cases. There are still a few, of course, but everything is quite loose now. So we can really indeed enjoy the spring, see each other again, hang out again. So
you
that's
see a
great.
time when you might actually be able to spend some time with the person you love, your lover.
Yeah.
There is any time, do you see that happening in the future at some point? Or
Yeah, sure.
do you manage to coincide vacations or something that you can actually
we do. Yeah, we planned a vacation in July this year, and then the company where we booked our vacation, the travel agency, thank you, called us and told us the flights were off. They weren't going anymore. So we last minute changed our plans. We're going to Sicily. Which we're really looking forward to. Yeah.
I've never been. Have you been before?
No. It was still on our list.
It is the best food in Italy. That's what Italians say.
And we love Italy. So it all works out in the end. Yeah.
That's really cool. Well, I thank you for coming back to say hi.
Yeah, thank you.
So nice
for catching up again.
To see your lovely face and how well you look, even though you've had such a miserable 2 years. I hope that your next 2 years are just the best ever.
Thank you.
See you soon.
Yours too.
Thank you.
Thanks, Evelyn. All right, we are going to meet Ruska, who popped in briefly a minute in the beginning, but this will be our first time chatting.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
I saw your name, Ruska, appear at some point.
Yeah.
So, hi, Ruska.
Hello. Yes.
Where are you?
I'm in Finland.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Wow. I don't think we've got another Finnish friend here. I'm not sure. We might have. I've only been to Helsinki airport. I've never actually been to Finland. I've seen it out of the window. But I think I was going to one of the country that's closest to you, across
Sweden?
Estonia, one of the
Estonia.
Estonia, one across the world. How are you? Have you been all this time?
Honestly, this year has been kind of a mess because I've been doing my pedagogic studies to become a teacher. I'm studying German and French at the university, and I'm basically going to be a teacher of those two languages. And so usually I'm taking a little bit less classes per year, but then suddenly it was like, you have to do this and this and this and this and this, and I was just like, whoa.
Oh my goodness. What about German and French did attracted you? Why did you go, I want to do that?
Because I had German friends when I started learning it. I actually started learning them both in upper secondary school, which is kind of like the same as high school, a little bit different.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, I'm gonna go to the university and do this. I had done 2 years of German, and that was like, okay, it was that or theology, and I didn't get the textbook for theology exam, so I was like, okay, German it is.
And French because of the fact that you just had an affinity.
No, because I have family in France, so.
How do you know English so well?
Everybody knows English. Basically because in Finland we don't get, like, most of the films, TV series stuff, it's not dubbed at all. Right. So we just hear it all the time.
Lucky you. Are you in Helsinki? Or outside because it's a big country?
I'm in Helsinki actually. We have a summer cottage a few hours from here, so sometimes, especially during the summer, because it's like on an island in a lake, so it's like you can't really get there on the winter
Oh, but
nowadays.
gorgeous. Lovely to get there in summer. Do you go, are you excited to get there, or do you like, so it's
Yeah,
family?
I'm actually wondering if I should ask my grandmother if she's gonna be there next week. I can be inside this forest and nobody's gonna get there because the island that we have the summer cottage on, it's just like usually it's just me and my grandmother there.
Wow.
So no one else. And if I get really fed up with my grandmother, I can just take the boat and row to another island. Stay on
Wow.
to a few others.
It sounds idyllic. It sounds delightful.
It's amazing, really.
You must have a great relationship with your grandma.
Oh yeah, well, we disagree on language stuff a lot
Oh,
because she used to work, like, I think she was a translator for the EU when I was a kid. So we
fascinating.
spent a lot of so she and my grandfather, they lived in Brussels, and I used to visit a lot.
How could you possibly disagree? What would spark a disagreement about something?
Well, her idea of proper Finnish is totally different from mine. This is like
Okay,
this
so you
kind
disagree
of
about
not
Finnish.
old-fashioned, but yeah, it's usually about Finnish. And yeah, I can't.
I understand. I totally understand. And I we have the same. I mean, everybody has these disagreements. Actors have these disagreements about Shakespeare, and it's generally a generational thing. Younger generations are much more free form, much more willing deconstructing the Shakespeare, and older generations are trying to conserve its meter and all of this sort of stuff. So I completely understand that. That's all. And every grandma, well, not everyone, but a lot of grandmas and grandpas are like, what kids are saying these days? We would never speak like that.
Yeah, it's.
Is there a language you haven't studied? No, of course not. You seem to be really excited. You're a linguist.
Well, yeah, technically I speak 7 languages, and I've studied like 3 more, or so. I want to study like a dozen more.
Ruska?
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's amazing. You have time for that. That's wonderful. You must have just a gift for learning languages. They must just fall into your brain, like into little slots that are pre-configured for them. Just seem very logical to you.
No, it's just I've done, like, when I had done French, and then I was like, you know what, I kind of want to start studying Italian, and I'd basically already learned the pronunciation of a language because I had been listening to a song, and I'd learned, I don't know how, but I learned the pronunciation from the song.
Wonderful. So, what's your favorite singing language? What's your favorite language you'd like to hear sung?
Well, it depends on the style of the music. Like,
good point.
Well, actually, I don't listen to music very much in English.
Right.
Not like, for some reason, I just don't.
That's great. You've got so much choice. So because I kind of understand. I totally agree with you about languages being very pertinent to what singing being very pertinent to what kind of style the song is. That sorry, opera might be Italian or German. And, it's rock. What's your favorite rock then, if it's not English?
Like rock band or
rock music. What country's music do you like?
Well, it depends. Actually, one of the only bands that I do listen to in English is the Finnish band Poets of the Fall. That one.
Wow.
They sing in English.
Okay, well, that's amazing. How do people feel about all this? How do people in your generation, the youngsters, if you don't mind me calling them, feel about what's going on in Ukraine? Because now it's actually impacting Finland directly.
I think when it started, people were like really panicking, obviously, because like whatever's happening, it's happening so close to us right now. It's not happened since like before I was born. So it's like the first time I've ever witnessed something so close. Okay, well, it's not going to happen to us right now, but if it does, I'm going to be really quickly out of here because I'm not going to be staying here. So meanwhile, I'm just like, okay, I'm just going to continue on with my studies, with everything, and just, finish it as best as I can. And if stuff goes real bad, I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna be out of here. Either I'm gonna go to my family in France, or then to some relatives in the US. I would prefer to stay in Finland, or not in Finland, but in Europe, because
they have an amazing under your city. There is an amazing network of deep subterranean tunnels designed.
Yeah, there is,
especially for an invasion of Russia.
Yes, actually, I live on top of one.
Oh, really?
Right in top. Yeah, I just need to run down some stairs if stuff happens. So
that's amazing.
Yeah,
they did a documentary on the BBC.
Actually, a funny thing is that I play Pokemon Go sometimes, and one of the entrances to this underground network is actually just a Pokestop. So like it's like one of these things on the map, and I was like, okay.
Yeah, it's a fascinating documentary on BBC Worldwide. I don't know if anyone watches BBC Worldwide, but it's got some really fascinating little documentaries on there.
Yeah, it's like actually they in the Finnish newspapers, they were like, okay, now everybody literally wants to see these tunnels. And we're just like,
absolutely. In your best world. Oh, actually, you know what? I'm quite interested to find out how you found us before I ask you your best world question.
Star Trek.
Ah, okay.
Actually, I was like, I had finished one season of Discovery or something. I was like, there's nothing else for me to watch. Then I was like, yeah, you did start the Deep Space Nine thing a while ago. I was like, it was a time when I was like, I'm not going to start watching another Star Trek thing. I've got 2 on my plate. And then somebody very helpfully puts an image of Bashir just freaking out about the Cardassian spy. And I'm just like, okay, I'm really going to like this guy, am I not?
In a world where everything was perfect, if in a world where you had to make your choices always came true, not I'm not talking about wishes, you know, can't make millions of dollars or anything, but just what you like to do. You went to college, you did this. What would you do? What would you like to be, even if it doesn't make money? You know, it's like do it.
Well, I would like to write and then knit a lot, because I knit all the time. It's like,
my goodness.
Yeah,
fantastic.
Actually, I can show you. I made a pair of mittens last year. I don't know if you can see the
yes, absolutely. They're
well.
Gorgeous. They're really traditional as well.
Yeah,
that triangle shape is very traditional.
I've done some sweaters. I can show you. It's this one I've made myself. I don't know if you can see the pattern very well.
Just about see the pattern. It's beautiful. And the collar, my goodness, it's good. You've got this beautiful collar. It's like a
yeah, it's kind of like petrol type of green. I don't know if you can see it. The lighting is weird in my room.
The color, I was saying the collar is correlated, which is really beautiful.
Oh yeah, this one.
Yeah, you've got it like a beautiful wave on that collar. How long have you been knitting? Is this like you've been knitting all your life? It looks like you have.
No, I actually started during when COVID first hit. I was like, I'm so bored. I didn't know what to do with my life.
That's amazing. You've bought an amazing. I mean, what I love is it's such a tight knit. You've made, because most homemade things, my very sweet aunt gives me scarves, but the knit is so loose that the shape so quickly.
Yeah.
I'm walking on my own scarf, but you've managed to make it a really tight knit. That's really commercial knitting.
Yeah, actually, I've been doing crochet a lot longer, and I just noticed at some point it's like very tight when I do it. So it's like, I think it's the same for knitting.
We've got a lot of knitters here in our group. You can join them and talk and swap stories. We also have a lot of writers. What sort of writing are you interested in?
Well, for my original writing, I like to do a lot of like fancy stuff. Like I actually created this whole. Actually, I created 2 different kind of worlds for different writing, and I've been trying to create conlangs for them, languages, because I'm a linguist. What else am I supposed to do?
Of course.
Yeah, and it's been wild. I've been just taking like my favorite parts of different languages. Like, okay, I like this numerical system a lot. I like this writing style a lot. I like this whatever the heck they're doing with their verbs a lot. So I'm just like, okay, this is a language.
That's really interesting. That you've just that really interests me. So you're doing really quite innovative stuff by using your knowledge of different languages, their structures, and their I guess their idioms. And you are you're kind of incorporating those things, but under the umbrella of a Finnish language, or are you doing it? Are you doing them in different languages?
Well, for my original fiction, I write it in Finnish, but I often talk about it in English to my friends. So it's like a bit of a mess, really. The newest stories that I've made, I've sort of like been making up all the names from scratch, and it's like, okay, I'm just like taking sounds that sound nice and making them into words.
What a lovely thing to do. Have you published any of these writings?
Not yet, but I will.
That's fantastic. That's really, I mean, that's wonderful. You really need to talk to some of the other guys in this social club, because we have some super talented writers.
Yeah, I can imagine.
All over the world, and they've got really interesting ideas, and they've got a really interesting take on how things, and very new, novel and progressive, really interesting sort of stuff. But I think your linguistic skills, aptitude, is going to be a really interesting addition to the oeuvre, to the group, you know, because you, especially coming from Finland, which is an unusual place for us. And,
yeah.
And your knowledge of so many other languages, you may be really helpful to a lot of people. That'd be really cool. I think you're amazing, Ruska. Thank you for coming along and saying hi. What a fascinating story. Come back, welcome back. We'd love to hear some of your writing one day. I'd be really interested to see this kind of interlinguistic mashup. Would be fascinating to have a look at.
Yeah, I'll try to get something done.
Don't worry, no rush. You got a master's.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ruska. It was lovely to meet you. All right, guys, we're going to wrap it up here. Thank you all for joining us. All right, thanks, everybody. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you in like 10 days.
Thanks, Mel.
Bye.